Some interesting stuff from Bruce Arena, who told Kevin Baxter of the LA Times, talking about the USA's failure to qualify. There's absolutely no excuses.
What?
Get ready for them.
What,
in all honesty, I think if I'd come in April, it would have been a heck of a lot easier for us to qualify for a World Cup. Remember, he came in after 2 games in the Hex. This is after 3 matches after that big win against Honduras. So they were 4. He'd had plenty of time. It seems a strange thing to say, Casey, to state that he needed more time when after 3 matches everything was fine.
Well, he had the opportunities. There's no question about it. You can't lose to the Trinidad B team on the final day. Sorry, Shaka, but it's...
even he said
okay.
that.
Yeah, but even then, you lose to Costa Rica at home. There was plenty of opportunities for the U.S. after the first 2 games, which technically were the most difficult of the 2 games on paper. The U.S. has never picked up points in Costa Rica. You have Mexico at home. You lose concentration on a set piece in the 89th minute, or you get a point out of that game. So I don't understand where Bruce Arena's trying to drag this back up right now. Just kind of say, look, it didn't happen. We messed up, and leave it at that.
You know, he's got a book out. I understand, but why dig?
No, I don't understand. I don't understand why. I mean, why? Why now? Why any time? I mean, who's going to read these things? Seriously.
If you're going to bring it up, don't try to pass the buck where nobody's buying it. In all honesty, accept responsibility. Try your best to explain it. But the fact of the matter is, Bruce Arena was in charge of a U.S. team for 8 of those qualifying games, and those 8 went according to trend in the first 2. You lose at home to Mexico. What we saw the last 8 doesn't suggest that was an off result.
Sure.
And you lose away to Costa Rica. U.S. did not win a single game on the road in the Hex. So whatever you make of Bruce Arena's performance, it was in keeping with what we'd seen.
2 games, 8 games to go.
Yep.
So there was Jurgen got 2 out of 10, and he got 8 out of 10. And I'll repeat what I said before, in the weakest qualification section you could find anywhere, right? Before they even got to the last game, before Trinidad and Tobago's B team. Where are we now with the excuses? When this happened, the excuses were incredible. In fact, people were saying, well, Bruce is, we're back on the right track and Bob Bradley's in to help him and we're going to the World Cup. And then this result happened and all of a sudden, soccer in the United States was going to go down the pan.
Yep.
Off the back of one result. It was the end of the world. I mean, have you ever met a bunch of people who dramatise things more just for the sake of their own, profile? It's quite scary, really. I mean, yeah, it's a blow for soccer, but, kids are still playing.
Yep.
All right, the structure might have to be looked at, but these people were not out putting their head above the parapet prior to this result.
Speaking of structure, this is from Arena's book via Kevin Baxter's article in the LA Times. He said, one problem, writes Arena, starts with the fact that the top ranks of soccer in the US are too insular, with the same people talking to one another rather than seeking fresh ideas and perspective from outside. It isn't the fact that the US is so insular the reason that Bruce Arena got the second crack at the whip in the first place.
It worked well in theory for 8 years under Bruce Arena 15 years ago. Well, we're in a little bit of a problem here, so let's just bring what worked 15 years ago back in. The definition of insular.
Yeah.
So when it works, when it works to your advantage and you get the job back, then it's all fine.
Sure.
But when it doesn't work, then it's a problem.
I don't know. You're talking about insular, and wasn't the quotes attributed to Bruce when he came in about American players,
Yes.
so-called American players, and so-called half and half, or German Americans, whatever you want to call them. Now, if that's not insular, I don't know what is.
The truth of the matter is, football is insular almost by its very nature at this point. Whether you want to talk about FIFA administration and that merry-go-round, or whether you want to talk about the same managers getting jobs in the Premier League, football is by its nature insular. I think the US have done a better job than most in trying to be inclusive. When you talk about the players' councils and all the other councils that are involved in the administration of the game, or at the very least the politics, the US have more fail-safes than anybody else. The trouble is, those bodies are equally political and politically appointed. And you, as you saw in the last elections, vote en bloc, which I think is good politically in the short term, but detrimental for the game in the long term. That's where the focus needs to be, not just pointing at the top.